Nothing new, but I'm a few days late posting this. This was actually what I was doing when Drew cleaned up the motel room a few days ago. I took all the blankets, pillowcases, a few of the stuffies that needed to be taken as well, and then I took 3. It's low-key kind of hard to do voiceovers when you can't stand the sound of your own voice. And, I mean, come at me for that, but I've pretty much always been thrown off by the sound of my own voice. It's just, I don't know. I wish it was a little more baritone, you feel me? But I could have no voice at all, and this is the voice God gave me, so I guess I'm just gonna keep using it. I know y'all gonna be like, oh, it's so nasty, she's using the same cap for all the toothbrushes. Yeah, but I poured different powder in the cap.
All right, let's get into this, because this story is not just messy. It's the kind of slow burn chaos that only gets worse the more you replay the clips. So picture this. Stephanie Jenkins is once again sitting comfortably, casually talking about her future. Not tomorrow, not next month, the big, dreamy future. She's listing requirements like she's already halfway moved in. A laundry room is non-negotiable. 2 bathrooms are a must. The kids have already picked their bedrooms. The way she says it, you'd think the moving truck is parked outside and Zillow personally sent a thank you card. She says it confidently, like it's already locked in, like the plan is solid and happening. And that's the first moment people start tilting their heads, because if this sounds familiar, it's because it is. She's been giving these future home speeches for a while now. Same tone, same certainty, same promises. And yet, nothing changes. Same motel, same setup, same situation. The words keep evolving, but the reality doesn't move an inch. And that's where the side eye starts turning into scrutiny, because right after these grand home life fantasies, Stephanie posts a laundry video. Harmless, right? Wrong. She opens by saying it's old footage, which, if you've been on the internet for more than 5 minutes, you already know is the influencer equivalent of don't check the timestamps. And sure enough, people checked anyway, because around the same time, her partner had posted his own video, a deep cleaning clip where he claimed he was scrubbing down the motel room while watching the youngest child, Atlas. According to his explanation, Stephanie had taken the rest of the kids to do laundry. On the surface, that sounds like basic co-parent teamwork, divide and conquer, no drama. Except that explanation doesn't exist in a vacuum, because viewers immediately remembered something uncomfortable. Atlas keeps getting left behind. Not once, not twice, repeatedly. And suddenly, this laundry errand wasn't just a laundry errand anymore. It became part of a pattern people had already been noticing, but maybe didn't want to fully acknowledge yet. Then Stephanie herself adds fuel to the fire. In her own laundry video, she starts casually listing everything she washed: blankets, pillowcases, stuffed animals, talking like it's a normal, productive day. And then she drops a line that completely changes the tone of the entire story. She mentions that she took 3 of the kids with her. Then she clarifies they were all her girls. And right there, without even realizing it, she creates a math problem the internet solves in seconds. If she only took the girls, and if another child was already with a sibling elsewhere, then Atlas was left behind at the motel, again. And not in a way that looks intentional or carefully planned, more like he was simply parked, present but not engaged, existing in the background while adults handled errands and content creation.
Nothing new, but I'm a few days late posting this. This was actually what I was doing when Drew cleaned up the motel room a few days ago. I took all the blankets, pillowcases, a few of the stuffies that needed to be taken as well, and then I took 3 of the kids to the laundromat with me. Difference, but in my mind, it's making a difference, okay? No, it's not. Anyways, it smells great, and it's gentle. This one, I'm sure, is freaking horrible for our skin, but I really just want the blankets to be like extra clean, okay? And now that she shut up, we can get back to it. So when we move, a big priority of mine is to make sure that whatever spot we get into has a laundry room. I mean, for goodness sake, 2 bathrooms. But to me, it's highly important that we have a washer and dryer of our own, because especially as the kids get older, I just feel being able to keep up on doing the laundry every day would be absolutely amazing. I get that not everybody's able to do that, and watch people quote me on that when I do have the ability to, and they'll be like, well, you're not doing your laundry every day. I said it would be amazing. I do want to do like a separate video and maybe show you guys kind of a little more detail about what I do to try to make the process as cleansly as possible using public space laundromats. I mean, like, look at the machine. Look at that green stuff. And I knew full well this blanket was going to be bad. I didn't get a chance to do it the last time that I did laundry, and it needs to be washed by itself in one of these bigger washers. Peep the freaking ceiling literally falling apart because of water damage in this place. But yeah, ultimately, I am just grateful we have a place to wash our clothes now. I'm really grateful we're able to come up with the money to do so every month. And I really appreciate you guys all watching and engaging. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye-bye.
And that's where the discomfort really sets in, because this isn't about laundry or errands or even mistakes. It's about how casually this is all said, like it's normal, like it doesn't even register as something that might concern people. Once viewers clock that detail, everything else she says in the video starts sounding different. What once felt like a cheerful day in the life vlog suddenly feels scripted, defensive, almost like she's talking around something instead of about it. And then, just when the tension is already thick, she pivots straight into an ad. No pause, no transition, just smooth influencer voice selling laundry detergent like this is any other sponsored moment. She talks about how it's making such a difference, how it works so well, how she loves it, and then reality crashes the scene in the most brutal way possible. One of the kids in the back seat cuts in loudly and clearly, "No, it didn't." Not a mumble, not confusion, not toddler noise. A full, honest, unfiltered product review delivered with zero mercy and zero PR training. The kind of moment influencers pray never happens on camera. Stephanie laughs it off like it's cute, like kids just say funny things. But the internet doesn't laugh it off. The clip spreads instantly. Screenshots, reposts, captions flying everywhere. Because now it's not just about Atlas. It's not just about laundry. It's about credibility. People start re-watching everything: the housing speeches, the timelines, the errands, the ads. The way information is presented just vaguely enough to sound fine until you actually connect the dots. And once those dots connect, the entire narrative feels shaky. Viewers aren't reacting to one bad moment anymore. They're reacting to a pattern that feels increasingly performative, increasingly rehearsed, and increasingly disconnected from what's actually happening. And that's why this story won't die down, because every new clip doesn't stand on its own. It adds to the pile, and when influencers forget that the internet remembers everything, it always catches up eventually. And besties, that moment was loud, because that wasn't just some random kid blurting out nonsense in the back seat. That was a kid who sounded like they had already clocked the entire situation, spotted the opening, and said, "Absolutely not, we're not remixing the truth today." It gave very much, "Girl, we live this story too. Please don't sell a fantasy in the car we're sitting in." And honestly, that's both hilarious and deeply uncomfortable at the same time. Imagine trying to do a clean, polished ad read and realizing your own child just became the comment section, live, unfiltered, and ruthless. But here's the wild part. She keeps going. She keeps praising the detergent, talking about how gentle it smells, like she's trying to salvage a brand deal in real time. Full recovery mode. And then, plot twist, she casually pulls out another laundry sanitizer and says that one is horrible for the skin, but it's okay because she uses it for extra cleanliness on the blankets. Pause. Rewind. So it's bad for the skin, but fine as long as the blankets are extra clean. That logic is doing cartwheels. That's like saying, yes, this is toxic, but at least the vibes are disinfected.
It's low-key kind of hard to do voiceovers when you can't stand the sound of your own voice. And you mean, come at me for that, but I've pretty much always been thrown off by the sound of my own voice. It's just, I don't know. I wish it was a little more baritone, you feel me? But I could have no voice at all, and this is the voice God gave me, so I guess I'm just gonna keep using it. I know y'all gonna be like, oh, it's so nasty, she's using the same cap for all the toothbrushes. Yeah, but I poured different powder in the cap. It's a process, yo. I just don't share every little bit of my process, so please don't keep assuming you know. So this was a lot easier on me. Last night I made the lunches before I went to bed for the kids, and I'm gonna start doing that more often because I find it a lot easier than trying to squeeze it in the morning routine. I never know if my baby's gonna wake up with me when I try to wake up, and I do try to wake up earlier than everybody, but you know, sometimes she hears me stirring and she wakes up like almost immediately after I get up. So I don't know if I've ever actually shared about this, but this is kind of a sensitive topic for me. Certain foods are incredibly hard for me to get down. I literally have to like water it down. I'm gonna stop and get everybody's me some toothbrushes, and then I gotta get cash back to do more laundry. I think I'm gonna get more of those caps that go on top of the toothbrushes because the kids keep losing them, but that's okay. I stopped at a different Dollar Tree than I usually go to. It's so exciting for me, a new adventure. Not really, but like sometimes I just want to go to a different one to see if they have anything else that, you know, maybe the other one doesn't have.
The math is not mathing, the reasoning is moonwalking backwards, and the comments could already see where this was headed, because right after that, the video slowly starts sliding away from laundry and straight into what can only be described as Stephanie's ongoing moving chronicles. You already know the script. She cannot complain about laundry without launching into her dream home wish list. It's automatic at this point. She says when they move, her top priorities are a laundry room and 2 bathrooms, washer and dryer included, non-negotiable. As the kids get older, she says laundry needs to be done daily, and then immediately she goes defensive. She says people are going to quote her for that because she doesn't actually do laundry every day right now, even though she technically has access to one. She clarifies she only meant it would be amazing if she could. And that's when people clock it, the pre-argument. She posted the video already fighting comments that hadn't even been written yet, and when someone starts defending themselves before the criticism even lands, that tells you everything. Then she pivots again, this time into dragging the laundromat itself. She zooms in on grime inside the machines. She pans up to a ceiling that looks like it's one bad vibration away from collapsing. She talks about water damage and how nasty the place is, basically giving a guided tour like, look how disgusting this is. And sure, public places can be gross, no one's denying that, but the comedic timing of her judgment absolutely insane. Because, besties, we have eyes, and we've seen her motel room. It's giving someone standing in a burning kitchen and saying, "Ew, your sink has spots." She even says she's grateful to have a place to do laundry, grateful she can come up with the money to do laundry every month. Every month. That line alone made people freeze, because if she meant monthly laundry for a family of 7, that's not just shocking, that's alarming. And yes, people went there because this is the same household with poop rags, dishes washed in a bathtub, and hygiene choices that already had viewers stressed. Ideally, a family that size should be doing laundry constantly, daily even, especially in a cramped motel room where piles build up fast, and we've already seen those piles. But reality hits. They can't afford to do that, and the reason they can't afford it? Because instead of prioritizing getting out of the motel, money keeps going towards substances, random purchases, and irrelevant review items. And here's the kicker. It's been a year, a full year, and she's still acting shocked that everything is deteriorating. What really sent viewers was the audacity of her judging the laundromat like it's the grossest place she's ever encountered, while the motel room she lives in every single day is falling apart in real time. The walls that were once okay now have paint chips peeling off, chips that Atlas has been seen putting in his mouth. The bathroom door looks like it has a punch hole that definitely wasn't there before they moved in. The front door is a disaster. The floors are always filthy, so when she pans dramatically across a public laundromat and clutches her pearls, people aren't buying it. It starts to feel like a distraction tactic, like she wants the internet focused on how gross the laundromat is, so no one talks about the place her kids are actually stuck in every day. And that brings it back to the moving talk, because she keeps saying when they move, not how. No plan, no timeline, no visible steps. The credit still isn't fixed. She has openly refused to get a job to supplement income. Her partner works, but his wages are being garnished for child support, which tightens things even more. And on top of that, she continues spending money on unnecessary items to review, except her online reputation is so messy now that even brand deals don't land cleanly without backlash. Because at some point, wanting better for your kids has to move past saying it out loud and into actually doing something about it. Stephanie keeps talking like manifestation alone is going to unlock a 3-bedroom with a washer and dryer included. Like if she repeats dream home enough times, the keys will just materialize on the motel bedspread. But the reality? She's still way too comfortable exactly where she is. And that's the part people can't ignore anymore. She's relaxed in that motel in a way that doesn't match the urgency she claims to feel for her kids. No rent stress, no utilities, no real accountability. And it makes people wonder, is she waiting for a miracle, a government program, a generous stranger to swoop in and solve it? Because nothing about her current choices says she's grinding for the life she keeps promising. The spending is still reckless, the priorities are still sideways, and the work ethic, missing in action. So when she starts complaining about the laundromat, a situation she openly admits she's not trying to change, people start asking what the real goal was. Sympathy? Distraction? A storyline? Because no one gets a dream home by narrating problems into a camera and calling it a plan. It's been a year, a full year. The kids are older, the room is more cramped, the conditions are worse, and yet all we hear is that she knows what's best, while nothing actually improves. Then, just when you think the saga has peaked, Stephanie uploads another video, this time a cozy little morning routine moment, calm music, soft lighting, and then toothpaste powder. And not just any toothpaste powder, the toothpaste powder. The same one tied to the Revive Homestead controversy. The same situation where the company owner had to publicly distance themselves, clarify there was no collaboration, and shut down open partnerships because Stephanie's involvement caused backlash. The same product she was asked to remove from her content. So when she casually brings it back like none of that ever happened, that's not confidence. That's audacity with a capital A. And it doesn't stop there. She shows herself dipping all the kids' toothbrushes into the same powder cup. Immediately, she jumps into defense mode, saying people are going to call her nasty, but wait, that's not what happened. She totally poured separate powder for each toothbrush. It just wasn't shown. Off camera. Trust her. Here's the thing though, it takes longer to explain that than it would have taken to just show it. And that's why people don't buy it. Because when someone is actually doing the cleaner version, they show it. When they're not, they give speeches. And speeches are her specialty. Then she pivots again. Lunches. She explains she now prepares school lunches the night before because mornings are easier that way. Then she touches on food being a sensitive topic for her. And then, like clockwork, another shift. She talks about going to a new dollar store to buy toothbrushes and cups, framing it as a new adventure. A new adventure? Living in a motel with 7 people? Besties, please. It's always side quests, always toothbrush cups, always toothpaste powder, always laundry soap, always anything except the main mission, getting those kids out of that environment. That's what people mean when they say it feels performative. She keeps offering tiny cosmetic fixes while the core problem stays untouched. Promises get made, speeches get delivered, but nothing ever changes. And that's why the tone around her content has shifted so sharply. People aren't just questioning her anymore, they're worried. Because when a year passes and the only consistent thing is the talking, not the doing, it starts feeling like something drastic would have to happen before she actually moves. And that's not a comforting thought. So when you line it all up, the laundry day that exposed Atlas being left behind again, the failed detergent ad clocked by her own kid, the contradictory sanitizer logic, the dream home fantasies with no plan, the laundromat judgment while her own room crumbles, the shocking once-a-month laundry comment, the revived toothpaste powder scandal, the toothbrush cup explanations, the dollar store adventures, it's not just messy. It's unsettling. And that's why people aren't letting this go. Because this isn't about hate, it's about patterns. And right now, the pattern says a lot more than her speeches ever could. Anyway, loves, you already know. Stay tuned, because this story, it's not done. And the internet is watching every move.